I'm back. Yeah. So going back to fornicating under the consent of the king. Fuck. What is that about people are saying? So watch. And I was telling you back in the day about power and control. So watch this. The kings and queens had much power over their subjects. And the elite also were enjoying this power because the elite would not be prosecuted for doing anything to the poor. And they had rights over the poor. And it was so bad that there came a stage where population control was needed, but not for any reason. Sometimes it was because the king or the queen felt that their kingdom was too ugly, so thus needed to be sanitized, or the ugly people needed to be finished out, and then only beautiful people will be born. So then laws were made to say you needed consent from the king to marry. You needed consent from the king when you're married to have sex. And if you were caught having sex without the consent of the king, meaning if you were caught fornicating without being under the consent of the king, it was a crime. And the punishment was heavy. For both the men married and the women married, but under the king. So people would go to the local courthouse, put a petition in, put dates down, put times down, and then they will be given a plaque, an official plaque from the royals. If the king or the king's courtiers permit that these two were reasonably pretty enough and reasonably they are likely to produce some offsprings that would enlighten our nation, then the king or the king's courtiers will give permission for you guys to fornicate under consent of the king. F, fornicate under you. Consent, C, of the, forget that, king, K, F-U-C-K, fuck. And then the phrase fornication under the consent of the king was changed or was abbreviated to simply F-U-C-K, which created a word that sounded as follows: fuck, which was then turned as sex, which was before referred to as fornication. Hence what the F at the beginning of the word fuck is for. You see what I mean? Control is all about controlling it. If we look through life, it's been done over and over and over. These are just some examples. Today is offensive to have a con man, but a con man never conned poor people. They had nothing. Why would you work your confidence to go to someone with nothing and speech them into giving you nothing? Con men don't actually con the poor. When you hear someone's a con man, it means he is defrauding the rich. If you hear somebody's a confident salesman, it means he has mastered the art of defrauding the poor. Why? Because he's accepted by the elite. And they call him confident. But if he wasn't confident for the elite and he was confident for himself, and thus representing what the rest of the 99% should be doing, being confident for themselves, to not set him as an example for everyone to follow, he will be labeled a con man. She will be labeled a con woman. Control. But get this, when a pedophile is rich, they're not labeled pedophiles. They're labeled as sick. All of a sudden, apparently, pedophilia. Listen. Pedophilia, listen very carefully, is a condition. And pedophiles are saying that they were born like that and legally. And now they want to teach it in our schools to our children to understand that there are people like that and they're not harmful to kids, that they're actually good to kids. My only argument to this argument is this. If a pedophile's acts will hurt a kid, then it is bad. But get this. Let's say you say that people are born to be pedophiles and therefore is a condition rather than a crime. Then I'm going to say this. Pedophilia is relatively a new condition. And as equal rights go, we should look at each condition, because we have to start giving rights to every condition now. But now we should do it in stages. The one that came first. Get this. From the dawn of time, prostitution has been known that it is the last resort for a woman's survival tactics. I saw a little girl and she was raped at the age of 5. YouTube interview by her stepdad. Sorry, her foster parents. Some pedophiles, they get into the fostering world. It was the best. Why? Fresh delivery of kids every time. And the fostering nations, they knew. They knew who were pedophiles and they knew they were sending these kids into hell. In the end, the girl, she never got any education. She's on the street, she's a drug addict, and she's a prostitute. Pedophiles have ruined her. She can't even talk without crying. But the person who ruined her, were to believe that he or she was born like that, thus is not a crime. And yet we have been prosecuting and persecuting prostitutes. Who's to say that being a prostitute is not a condition that you're born with, especially if your mom was one? But if that becomes the case, then prostitution should become legalized and seen as a condition rather than a crime. And let me say, when I say legalized and seen as a condition, I mean accepted by law that yeah, she's a prostitute. And then once you accept that, it opens the door for us to say, or for the prostitute to say, well, I'm a prostitute, my offsprings are prostitutes, so get this, you see that little baby of mine? Yeah, is a prostitute, and there is no age limit for a prostitute. She's starting now. Anyone that wants to fuck a little baby, a prostitute baby, by the way, labeled right, because I'm a prostitute, legally, come and fuck it. Yes. Because we can prove that pedophilia hasn't been around that long, and apparently is a condition. Well, there is one that we know 100% is a condition, because it's been around for generations. So prostitution goes. Also, from the dawn of time, according to the Bible, since Abel or Cain killed Abel. Yeah? Watch this. Jealousy and envy. So stealing and taking what that doesn't belong to you. So it means stealing, thieves, armed robbers. It means these people are also predominantly born by genetics. Therefore, it's not a crime, it's a condition. Therefore, it's not prison you need to be sending them to. No. It's for treatment. And everyone should understand that. And get this, they're not even hurting babies. Basically, the point I'm making is this: understandings, grasp, grip, and command, mastery of a subject, confidence. Why would all of a sudden pedophilia be seen as legal? Watch this. Because it is the aphrodisiac of the rich. It is the aphrodisiac of the rich. They've been doing it secretly, but it's got to the point where you do as thy will. They want to bring it out because the world has been conditioned to accept so much bullshit. But watch this. How do you know? They're trying to save their asses by legalizing pedophilia. You see all that problem, the Applegate problem that you're seeing, the Pizzagate problem you're seeing, the Weinstein problems you're seeing. They're just delaying time. Because if you can weaken the crimes, impact within the law, then it doesn't matter what the people think. They'll get light sentences. This is the rich paying to have their crimes dissolved legally. Not only legally, and then to bring it into law, so now they can practice it openly. And if you don't believe me, I'll prove your point. Being gay, being homosexual. The church preached against homosexuality so badly they killed. So in the Bible, it says one thing, and they were carrying out what the Bible says, but secretly. The Pope. You see, the painting of Leonardo da Vinci, or is it Michelangelo? I believe it was Leonardo da Vinci. Where you have Jesus and the 12 disciples sat at the table, the Last Supper. They actually had to enact that, and playing Jesus in the middle is the son of the then Pope. His name is Caesar Borgia. He was the character playing Jesus. So he was the one in the middle who Leonardo da Vinci looked at to depict that painting. Well, that guy is Caesar Borgia. He's the Pope's son. It means back then, the popes, they slept with women. They were not celibate. But get this, you see the Pope's son, he was married to a woman who you see there next to him. on the left on another man. But get this, the painter, Leonardo da Vinci, he was gay. And his boyfriend was Caesar Borgia. So he secretly was sleeping with a guy. But openly, the guy was walking around with a woman. He was very jealous. And in the painting of the Last Supper, which I go in deep to explain to you in another session, I'll tell you everything that's happening there, and you will see I'm telling you the truth. But this one is very easy to recognize. Everyone there has the right to be there because we're depicting the 12 disciples, and Judas hasn't left yet. So everyone there has the right to be there. We assume Judas hasn't left yet. But get this. When you look at the table, Leonardo da Vinci endeavors himself to make sure that it's the table of congressional men. Congressional men. And because every man there has the right to be there, their feet, their foot, he goes through mighty great effort to make sure that everyone's foot shows. It means they have a seat at the table of congressional men. But you see this woman I'm telling you, which they argue about, they say it's this person, it's that person, but they really know who it is. It was Caesar's wife, his pretend wife. Do you see what I mean? Out of jealousy, Leonardo da Vinci points out that she doesn't belong here by, look at her feet, he blocks it with the chair's leg, with the table's leg. And then he pushes her away from his lover. And then he calls her a whore by pushing her onto someone else. The Last Supper. We're going deep on it. Do you see what I mean? But the church had gay people in there. Secretly. But openly, the church was killing gay people. All the way to the Second World War. Alan Turing. There was a gentleman by the name of Alan Turing. Had it not been for this gentleman, Hitler would have won the war. They don't tell you about this gentleman because he was gay. But let me tell you what this gentleman did. Everyone was finding it difficult to understand how the Germans were communicating between themselves tactical information. They may receive the information, but they didn't know how to decipher it. Alan Turing sat down and came up with a device called the Enigma. The Enigma. Check out the word Enigma. And the Enigma gave you the ability to decipher the German codes. From the moment they deciphered the first one, the Germans had lost the war. That was it. They were outmatched at every tactical maneuver based on their own communication. Thanks to Alan Turing. Depending on where you're looking at things from, you will say, we won. A few years after that, this hero was arrested, get this, by the crown, by the government, because they found out he was homosexual. They castrated him. They took away his penis, or the ability for him to, you understand what I'm saying? They chemically castrated him, so he couldn't even have an erection. But this was done under law, because openly they hadn't accepted gay. But today we are fully aware that most British politicians, the males, they had wives, they had everything, but they were gay. Even some of the ones, the judges that sentenced Alan Turing, some of them were gay. But Alan Turing, technically, in the world of being gay, was ahead of his time. He had come out sooner than the blueprint had given out to come out. The blueprint is now for them to come out now. So now what do? They for years they used the ordinary men to fight for gay rights. The ordinary men died for gay rights. They were raped for gay rights. They were beaten for gay rights. They were abused for gay rights. They were everything for gay rights. And then get this. They all of a sudden started coming out. The famous people started coming out that they were gay. The ones that will never suffer for being gay started coming out. But only when the innocent gays had suffered the brutality of highlighting their plight and had got their cases into court and some kind of safety was being provided. Now we find out the priests are all gay. The nuns are all lesbian. The politicians are fucked. Now we find out that they even want to legalize and make it free to be gay and not be criticized. But it's not for you. It's for the wealthy. And now all their kids are turning gay. And they want to make it legal so they're not criticized. It's not for you. Because, get this, people who are normally criticized are normally in societies that are poor anyway. Because normally rich people, they jam with rich people and they've accepted who they are. So it's not for you. It's just to protect them. And that's what they do. So, pedophilia. There's a lot of poor pedophiles out there that carry out their poor pedophile activities. Immediately they've been caught and they've been punished by pedophilia police. In the UK it's happened. A policeman that was arresting pedophiles happened to be a pedophile himself. By pedophile judges, by pedophile prosecutors, by pedophile jury, by pedophile everything. But get this, these are the ones that have money to be able to hide their acts, to travel abroad and do shit and come back without anyone knowing. But now they are ready because the poor ones have highlighted that it could be a problem. It could be a natural problem, and they are happy because if that comes into law, they're kiddies. Because it's like prostitutes. The more money you have, the more you can have, right? So it will be the same. The more money you have, the more kiddies you can have. So now they're pushing it. But I'm telling you, the last ground, the last frontier is pedophilia. The moment you make pedophilia, the harming of kids, legal, you have basically sentenced every kid into bondage, into sex slavery. And you have committed the gravest act and crime that a man can commit. And from that moment, no crime can be considered a crime. Listen, do it, don't run. If you run, it means it's premeditated. Just do it and stand there and go, I just realized this is me. All this time it's been going through my head, but now that I realize this is me, I'm born like this. That's why I didn't run. I told him I didn't run. Why didn't I run? I need help. I need help. Got the same condition pedophiles have. I don't mean to hurt the kid, but I was born like this. Understanding. You have to be careful what you accept into law, because what you protest, the time is 1, 2, 3, 1 a.m. What you protest about doesn't really matter. That's what people, especially in Ghana, do not understand. When they want the government to do something, they go on a protest. But the problem is, a democratic system relies on what's written and what's been documented and filed. So this is our request. It's been written, it's been documented, it's been filed. When you tell TV stations, how do you even know the political station or the political party in power watches that TV station? They don't care. But any political party has to watch the documentation that comes through from its citizens. Ghanaians don't know that. But that's only because Ghanaians don't really know how to write. And they don't really know how to read properly. And that's more than 80% of the population. And it's not an insult, it's the truth. But I only say it's the truth because I noticed the problem. And I don't say it to say, oh, this is the problem. I say it because I have the solution. The solution is a templating system where you call in, we've got a bunch of 16-year-old wasting away students looking for job opportunities, employment. And even if not employment, skills gaining. So get this, we're setting up a call center and an internet center where I've created a bunch of templates which help you to request for things from your local government at every level of government. And also, we help you to receive replies from them and to return your replies. So we help you to communicate, but we use a series of templates to help you to communicate with your local governments and with your regional governments and with your main governments. So how do we do that? Well, we've got computers set up, all the templates on there. You can either walk into our offices where you're going to find our very helpful 16 all the way to 20-year-olds who have nothing to do sitting at home. You're going to find them behind desks, very professional. They'll be versed. You tell them your problem, they will then work out which forms you need to address the problems you have told them. They will help you fill them out. And then we will post them. If you don't have an address, but you have a voter's ID, don't worry, we will give you a return address. And then we will take your phone number. When you get a reply, we will then send you a message or we'll call you to come back. If you can't read your reply, we will read your reply to you. If you don't understand how your reply exactly means, we will take our time and break it down for you. And then you, because we've broken it down, give us your response and we will reply. 16 to 20-year-olds doing this. They're also learning the system. But now Ghanaians are documenting their problems. And all this can be statistically shown towards the election, how the governments are doing. But if you don't provide these things, you can't show statistics to show. Say for example, Tema, Municipal West, you've written the local MP, Thomas Ahinkra, or Carlos Ahinkra, however much, yeah, and you've never received one response. That's major. That's major. Because if you write to your local constitution, that is a legal constitution and you're following a legal chain. and they haven't. So that's major. But if you go on TV, it's nothing. It's not democratic. It's making noise. Empty barrels make the most noise, they say. So I'm not saying it to insult. I'm saying it because I noticed the problem and I've got a solution. But it's a solution that will also at the same time provide jobs and experience for our youth. And not only that, this can be classed under national service. National service. Therefore, some kind of grant will be provided for each student who qualifies. But they'll be getting computer training, customer service training, confidence building. But not just any type of confidence building. Actually knowing the law. Because each form will explain. You talk to them. You tell them what your problem is. They will know which act your problems fall under. So when we give you a letter to show, it will point out those acts that you're writing for this, under this act, that you're requesting for this, under that. Show a legal chain. Trust me, by the time we're done, we're going to show that. We're going to show the politicians that can read, the politicians that can write, the politicians that should be in there, the politicians that shouldn't be in there, because get this, or even leaders that shouldn't be where they should be. Because get this, I'm telling you, we will even accompany our clients as a legal service to interviews with their local politicians, if they're granted one, and if they so wish for us to be there, to help them understand the legality around the conversation they're having with the, you understand what I'm saying? That is needed in Ghana. We have too many politicians driving from one restaurant to the other restaurant, from this restaurant, from the other restaurant, signing big deals for big people and not the people. The only way you can make these people accountable for their actions is to start putting democracy into action. Democracy is not protesting. Democracy is you understanding that this is your right from the law, and then following the channel that makes your right right. Protesting is not in any law book to say that it will get you anything. If it was, then you wouldn't need to seek permission first before you protest. That's how the protest is in the law book. That yes, we know about protesting, but there's no legal issue about it. But before you protest, you need to let us know what you're protesting about, one. And two, where? Control. But democracy has no control. You're free to do as you wish. But if you document it, it makes you really powerful. Ghanaians do not have that ability. Therefore, accountability, for example, how can you make a road that when the rain came, it literally washed the top surface from this side to this side? How is that possible? No bonding. But yet, the country is praising, showing pictures of when the road was finished and it hadn't rained yet. It's done. It's done. And the people are going online and they're telling everyone, but not the government. The only way you tell the government is everyone grab a form from our organization. Everyone. Even if you all tick the same boxes and make the same complaint. Next thing they know, 2,000 forms and 2,000 letters have appeared And they have to respond to each and every single one, because each and every single one has a voter's registration ID number next to it. This is how you count votes before voting day. Boy. This is how you know you've lost before voting day. When you count the amount of unsatisfied citizens just sat there on paper form waiting for the paper day.